Hello,
Hi guys.
welcome back to another one podcast.
That's right. Welcome back.
Now we're sitting here with Alvon,
Okay.
and I'll be interviewing Alvon in relation to his journey, a very spiritual journey, but also physical journey. He went to a specific country, to a specific place, which profoundly transformed him. So we're going to be talking about his experiences. We're going to be talking about what happened to him there and how he grew and all the things related to his journey. And so this podcast will be about Alvon and his self-improvement, which is closely related to where he went.
Cool.
So without further ado, I will spoil it. I will say Alvon went to China, but to a very particular place in China.
Ooh, where is that?
Where is that? Maybe those who are very perceptive already got a clue based on what we have here as beautiful backdrop.
Yeah, we put time and effort to do that.
That's right, yeah. Those who are a little bit slower in picking up, we will say Alvon went to Shaolin
Kung Fu.
Shaolin Kung Fu, yes. He spent quite some time in Shaolin and he underwent a very intense training, both physical and spiritual.
And mentally.
And mental as well, of course. So these three aspects were heavily fortified in Alvon's life, especially after he came back, because I remember Alvon before he went, and then I saw the difference and a very positive change after he came back. So we'll be asking him a few questions about the journey. So Alvon, what made you go to Shaolin?
Oh, that's a very, very profound question. To be honest, Peter, it really happened when I really saw myself, not just saw myself, but I envisioned, because of watching, Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li. These guys really actually put me to wanting to become somebody, in life. And not just somebody, but a martial artist, because not just because of the cool moves that they do, but because of mostly, and of course, I don't know if you know, I'm sure you know, the film called with is it Sammo Hung? No, it's not with Sammo Hung. It's with Jet Li, and he had a really long ragtail hair.
Oh, and he was moving around his head and
exactly.
slashing everybody
exactly.
like a whip.
Wong Fei Hong.
Wong Fei Hong. That sounds very Cantonese. Yeah,
exactly. So basically, it come about then that I really, really wanted to become a Shaolin monk. As a kid, I got my mom to, what is it called?
Shave your head.
Shave my head completely and put the 6 dots. But that pretty much came to me at early childhood.
So it was your childhood dream and inspiration from the movies. You wanted to become one of those martial artists and lead the life they lead and even possibly become a monk. Spiritually and being able to do what these monks can do on the streets or wherever you needed to. So have that motivation.
Yeah, we'll go back to the on the street topic as well later. But so it's basically started when I was 5. When I keep watching.
And just to remind us, how old were you when you went to Shaolin?
I was around 20, so it was 2016. So I'm 35 now. I'm turning 36 this year, so I think it's probably about 23. 23, 24, something like that.
Okay. So that's good. And so, how was the reality of Shaolin versus expectations? In terms of training, in terms of rules that you had to follow, in terms of other monks?
Yeah.
How was it?
So reality versus non-reality versus TV shows and movies. You know, in movies, you're seeing all these really awesome Chinese martial arts movements, very floral kind of effect, right? And over there, it was the same thing, but you got to put in the work. Like these guys didn't just end up on a TV show because they didn't do work. They did work. I mean, when I say work, it's like you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You do your qigong, tai chi. Qigong is similar to tai chi, but it's like physical exercise. It's awaken the body in the morning.
Yes, using the energy, chi.
Exactly, chi. Yeah, that's why the hence the name, the start of the name is called chi. Qigong.
Qigong.
Yeah. And yeah, so basically you start first thing in the morning. You do your qigong exercises for I think about until they say stop. Basically, the sifu or the Shaolin monk, they said stop, and then we go run up the mountain. And when we had to come down, we had to crawl down. We had to crawl down, literally crawl down from the mountain, up the mountain, very high, and we had to crawl down.
Crawl. So how was the surface of the mountain?
Well, to be honest, Peter, I didn't make it because first week I was there, my body went dead. Literally, like what I mean by dead is like I had pins and needles, and my body literally just went on shock.
Shock, yeah.
So the monks had to carry me
overtraining
out of the training. They had to carry me to the medical room. Everyone was worried, especially my two friends that I took overseas with me as well. They were both Spanish. Anyway, we'll talk that soon again. But so I didn't know what was going to happen to me because my body was so shocked that I couldn't move anything.
Yeah, wow. So you're like completely, like not paralyzed, but passed out almost.
Yeah.
Of exhaustion, perhaps.
Over-exhaustion because we train, 6 days a week, and we have about 5 hours sleep, 4 hours sleep.
Wow, that's
a day.
You need to have a proper sleep.
Yeah.
But the question I had at the beginning was that because you had to do these runs every morning, right? After you did your Qigong, you had to run up to the mountain. And so how was the surface?
Oh, the surface, yes, that's right. The surface was very unbalanced, meaning that there was the rock formations and, because it's mountains, right? It's sometimes it's quite steep, sometimes it's quite flat.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you saw it in my posts before, but I posted a kid climbing up this mountain, like this really small baby children, toddler thing, and he was trying to climb this mountain and he was crying, pouring out his eyes. And
so then we were going down crawling,
and we had to crawl, as in like crawl.
But if the surface was uneven or rocky, wouldn't you cut yourself or bruise yourself through?
But it's because it's purely because all these exercises that we do in Shaolin is to condition ourselves.
Okay, so it wasn't like stairs or pavement. Wow.
I think what I recalled was some was pavement, but you have to really really
to make effort to actually
exactly
put yourself out there.
Put yourself up there, yeah.
Wow, that sounds like a really. And how long did it take for you to, or not just for you, but for the group to get up to the mountain and then?
I think from what I recalled, back then it was around almost an hour up and an hour down. Yeah.
So 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Phew,
because if you think about it, because we start at 5 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So 5 o'clock, we do our qigong, we do our exercise, and bringing the body to life after when you just woken up from your slumber, and apparently this give blood to the warms the body.
Yeah, well, it's a great one of you.
Yeah, so basically after that we then do some stretches, and these are not just normal stretches that we do
That's to really stretch you and make you really flexible.
Pretty much they do everything to the extreme. Like when I say extreme, like literally I did a split a front split, and there was another person there, and he pulled me like frontwards, and then another monk sat on my back, and then another 2 monks was like just
so completely putting weight and making sure that you really stretch.
Yeah, exactly.
Even at the price of potential injuries, because it was really what you're describing really pushed beyond the limits.
These guys, they push the body to
the limits and beyond, I would even say, to a certain extent. And so then how would you describe a day of training? So you woke up at 5 o'clock, you did your qigong, then the master would say, or the shogun, the master, the Shifu, I think they call them Shifu or shogun or a monk would say stop, and then you would run for 2 hours up and down, and then you would do your stretches.
And then after like our rest is like 1 hour, and that is to eat breakfast, of course, let it digest properly, so they allow us to recover enough so that we can go back and train again for the afternoon training.
And then how was your following training after that?
The following training would be 4 hours of just pure like learning how to do the forms. So you have the ma bu chuan. Ma bu chuan means ma means horse.
Okay. Horse stance.
Horse stance. Yes. Horse stance form. Yeah. And I'll put reference video to this as well. Ma bu chuan is the first form that we learned. And then Wu Bu Chuan is the I think it's 8 symbol gong or something. I don't remember, but I'll put the reference to this as well. But so we learn how to punch, block, learn how to kick, all the techniques, all the forms, all the applications. Why we do them, and we did Sanda as well. Sanda is a form of Chinese Kung Fu. Sanda is Chinese Kung Fu of wrestling or fighting. It's their fighting style.
It's like sparring. Yeah,
exactly. That's right. Yeah. So, and then did some more stretching, and the stretching kills you, man. And then we had to, believe me or not, we had to run up again
to the mountain. In the evening.
In the afternoon.
And crawl back down.
Crawl back down again. So it's pretty intense. And then after that, mid-afternoon, so 2.5 hours, 3 hours.
About.
Yeah. So and then we stopped around 1. We have a break, 2 hours break, because we had such extreme of workout already throughout the morning and the afternoon. And then after that we would rest for a bit, and then we would do calligraphy. Yeah, calligraphy. It's a form of tea. So tea calligraphy. Yeah.
So with pens and ink.
Yeah, and you're having tea at the same time.
So what do you think that was for?
It's an art.
It is an art,
and it's to relax the mind, the body, what's gone through the morning and the afternoon of work. And then normally sometimes we see them like cooking and doing just normal duties of everyday duties of what the monk goes through.
Because what I know about calligraphy, actually, it fits in really well. It's an interesting thing that they have implemented. It is because it centers your mind into present moment.
Yeah, the mindset.
And that's what martial arts is all about. You've got to be here and
you've got to be grounded
and focusing on the moves and strikes of the feather or the pen.
Yeah, because if you think about it, the Chinese calligraphy, it's similar to it's almost similar to an art of martial arts.
Yeah.
So the art of martial arts is not just about fighting, how to know how to fight. It's many
elements,
many applications.
And teas, that very beautiful tea ceremony even in Japan.
Oolong.
Beautiful, and it's healthy, tea is healthy.
Exactly,
It's just
I actually have some as well, so maybe we can have some.
Well, we can definitely.
But
so that's good. And so how about training? So describe all these trainings that you've
Yeah.
done, including calligraphy. How about conditioning and weapons?
Yeah, so conditioning and weapons would be like another day, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you had the roster,
Yeah.
or
They have-
timetable of training
yeah.
of different. Okay,
Yeah,
so it
so
was
like the next
complementing.
day was because there's consists of 6 days.
Yeah.
So throughout those 6 days we'll be breaking up different training and routines and whatnot.
Yeah.
Applications, forms, yeah. So after when we finish those calligraphy, tea calligraphy kind of session, we would then go for dinner. And that would be like around 5-6 o'clock before we before we rest for the whole evening. So we would have our dinner. That would allow us to recuperate what we've just been dealing with for the whole day, throughout the day from the morning. So we would have a really healthy dinner: chicken, rice, tofu strips. You can ask this separately if you want, but and after that I would rest for about an hour to 30 minutes prior to getting called again for training. Funny thing is, I forgot to mention how they come and pick us up. It's like, you know how like in kindergarten and you would line up in twos.
Yeah.
So that would be the thing.
Oh.
I'll put the video on this as well. It's pretty fun. So we would be like, those guys coming from their dormitories or their apartments and whatnot with the sifu, and they just shout out your name, Alvon, calm down, in Chinese.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, hon hao. Okay.
Okay, that's.
Hon hao is like, okay,
coming.
coming.
Okay.
And then what is it called? Yeah, and then so we did not qigong, but now it's resting the mind before settling down for the whole night. You have to do some meditation, 2 hours meditation.
Ooh.
And the meditation, you go, so as soon as you enter the room, it's a room of meditation for the monks, for the Shaolin people as well, that studies Kung Fu. And you have to circle around this room for about 8 times. And then you hear ding, and then you slow down. You slow down your pace, and then ding, and then fasten again. Fasten your process again, and then ding. So 8 times of that, and then you sit down. Now, because you have you're wearing your shoes the whole time, throughout the day, they tell you there's a specific way for you to put yourself up onto the stool. So once you sit down like this, take your shoes off, sit them underneath the chair, right?
Stool, yeah.
The stool, and you have to be in this position, and then after you have to put one leg.
Oh, lotus flower, or whatever they call it.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have to be in this presence of and then after I have to have one like this, but I have to put my hand like this, and I'm just calm in the presence of calmness. Look, it's not that I'm Buddhist or anything like that. It's a spiritual journey that I've taken and interest to that because I love learning. I'm very curious about things, and so when I was in this present moment of calmness, I just forgot about the world, what's happening in the past and present and current of it, daily life.
And also, I think what helped as well was because your body was exhausted from physical exhaustion. So
the meditation actually helps to recover, to refreshen you actually come out of there feeling so regenerated. Like,
yes,
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
like,
I've done
and not only
similar
that,
things. Yeah,
not only that, because you're cooped up in this big, space. Even though it's big, you'd think there's a lot of air going, like circumventing in the room, right?
In the meditation room.
Yeah. Now, even though the room is big, we were sweating for 2 hours. Can you imagine? For 2 hours, you're sitting there and just like in the present moment, just like that.
Wow.
And you can just like I wasn't imagining things, but I can see like pulsating white ambient of light. It was just pulsating like circle, you know. And even until now, when I do my meditation, when I'm stressed or something like that, I just go into my meditative state. It's like Aang the avatar, you know, when he goes into that state. That's like when you pray, when you're actually connecting to the oneness of being, you know,
immerse yourself without worrying about what surrounds you.
It's crazy. Like,
time and space cease to exist. That gets inner stillness and peace. And before we move to another question, quick question. So you mentioned you trained 6 days in a row, and that there was the 7th day was off. So what did you do on the 7th day?
So on the 7th day, we would go into town, explore. Since I was there for about a month,
in Chinatown.
We would go out and explore. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go to the mountain, you know, the stairs, the wall of China.
Oh yeah, the Great Wall of China. Was it close?
No, it wasn't close. It was just because I was gone at that stage already. Because it was at the end of. I decided to go earlier. I went to so my friends and I would go to these really not untouched, but like waterfalls within the mountains. And we would have to climb.
So you did the training on your day off, basically climbing like you used to.
It's crazy. Like you just finished 6 days of training.
Used to
and you're sore and everything like that. But I'll put some reference to the pictures and videos. But we went to this, like, it's like a what is it called? It's rock formating like waterfall. So, but there's like a little dip.
Like a cascade.
Like a cascade. So we were just dipping in. My friends
swimming and enjoying the nature. Were you crawling down the mountain? No, you were just.
No, we were just.
Fair enough. I was just trying to check. Maybe. Really.
This was.
That sounds really interesting.
And then so because my body went through so much, I had to crawl, and also I was wearing slippers, and I had knee issues as well at the same time. So I was like, what am I doing to myself? But in the same time, like, these things actually helped me to
find yourself and test your limits and grow as an individual.
Exactly. Like, you know, I was very grateful to be in that present moment of being taught Shaolin Kung Fu, even though it was one of my fantasy, or one of my goals in life, to
dreams.
And
Oh, that's great. And so what was the most challenging part of the whole training and your stay?
I tell you something. So with the conditioning, going back to your question before in regards to like one of the, you know, few of the applications that we didn't go through. So what I didn't mention was it was something to do with the conditioning, the body conditioning. You know, sometimes you have to stay out in the sun and just be in the present moment. Instead of being in the meditative room, you have to be in the moment, out in the sun, and you have to put your hands like this and imagine the flow of energy right in the middle here. And you can actually feel it because you're in that present moment of just focusing, and you have the sun, scorching hot sun, being in Asia, just like hitting you, you know? And 2 hours, can you imagine it?
Standing there
for 2 hours, and then you have to do all this other conditioning where you have to stand in front of the other person, and you're just hitting yourself against their
getting used to impact.
Exactly. And some others are doing other exercise and training, so it's like a HIIT, you know, HIT in the gym, but extreme version. So if you don't have a partner, you go to the a pole, a massive pole that's like very rock hard solid, and you just like bang your forearms in there and da, da. And you gain a lot, like physically strong, but also mentally as well.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely.
One of the other training was you do some dumbbells and you do that and all that stuff just to get movement and the body moving and the blood circulating, and also we have this pot, a big massive vase of pot, and it has hot sand. And some people would do this, and some people would do this, and it's to strengthen the what is it called, the fingers,
the joints and fingers,
fingers and whatever that's here, and the wrists as well. We had to push up, and then turn and flip all the time, just to get that.
Get it conditioned from every angle.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
when you attack someone with a back fist or tiger claw.
Yeah, exactly.
You're ready.
Okay. So I think one of the challenges was where I think some of us, even including myself, because I was just my body was just in shock, and they lined us up saying, if this is not for you, the door is there. The shifu, the head shifu was there. And he's really nice. He said, I'll tell you one of the funniest message after this. It was like a virtue from a Shaolin monk who's like quite up there. Anyway, so he said to us, if this is not for you, you've wasted my time, you've wasted everyone else's time, the door is right there. You can go home if this is not for you. He was very, very adamant. He was very, very, strict. And we said, no, we want to keep continuing.
That's good. It's like Navy SEAL training. They do the same thing. They put them through hell in terms of physical and mental endurance. And then every time there's this kind of call, the trainer says, okay, guys, if you want to leave, you can leave. This is like pushing them to give up. It's a psychological game. Did anyone from your team took the opportunity? No. Okay, good. But even if they did, that's no judgment. But
because the other guys, they came from Congo and Africa, other parts of Africa. There's different team from like around the globe. Like there's 170 something people from different.
Oh, so it's 170 students from different part of the world. Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. They had a scholarship program now and then.
Scholarship?
Yeah, they have a Shaolin Kung Fu scholarship program for 3 months. And within this scholarship program, you get you're basically deemed as a Shaolin monk after that.
Okay. So they would be officially sworn or I don't know what the word would be, but admitted to Shaolin monks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they could stay there if they wanted to.
Yeah, they could stay there. They could do further study and become an actual monk, or they could become a teacher and help out, which some of them did. Some of my friends did that, and oh man, my friends, all of my friends over there, they were so open-minded. We were just at first we were like quite distant, but then after a few, training sessions and whatnot,
it brings you together. It brings you together.
A community.
Yeah.
That presence of community, sense of belonging, is uncalled for in today's society, especially.
Oh no. It's a sense of military as well, because the exercises that you were doing training.
If you think about it, Shaolin. They are warriors.
They are. Spiritual and physical and
They're like the Japanese had the samurais. So it's amazing how these different personalities, but have the same journey or have the same fundamentals.
Yes. So you mentioned mostly the other students were from African countries.
Congo, Nigeria.
One from Europe, a couple of Spanish.
So I took Roger and Diego. If you guys are watching this, I'm talking about you. So basically they were working with me in Barangaroo in Sydney. We had a contract there and they were working underneath me. They were my subordinates basically.
exactly. Mhm.
But yeah, and we lived together as well. So,
Yeah, I remember. I've met them as well.
So yeah, and they were like, "Oh, Alvin, what are you planning to do after we finished the contract on with Barangaroo in Sydney after 5 months?" I said to them, "Look, you know, I'm gonna take the opportunity to actually go to China and train some Shaolin Kung Fu before I go back home to Indonesia to meet my parents. Because at that time I didn't meet my parents for about 10 years. So yeah.
Good. Yeah, okay, great. And with all these difficult training and challenges, mental and physical, that pleasant bit that you probably enjoyed, food, in other words,
Oh, yeah.
how was it?
It was cheap, guys. It was so cheap.
Cheap?
Cheap. For a big bowl of noodle soup like this.
Yeah. Cheap or simple?
Cheap and simple.
Cheap and simple, yeah.
$3 for a big bowl of soup like this. Which you don't get anywhere. Maybe in my country, I don't know. But yeah, it was very cheap. Everything was cheap. Massage, cheap.
Yes, but how about the variety of foods and the quality? How would you describe that?
Oh, it was a lot of different food there. I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't go as much outside as I would love to, like to explore outside of the actual temple.
Well, within the Shaolin, my question was specifically food within the Shaolin.
Oh, within the Shaolin.
Not necessarily in China.
Oh, right, okay.
Within Shaolin.
Yeah, so the food there was, it was all provided within the expenditure, what we paid for.
Well, okay, so we split the question into two small questions.
Yeah.
How much did you pay for the whole thing for a month?
Yeah. So it was around 26,000 USD. No, so
26?
2,600 USD.
So 2,700.
600.
Yeah, 2,600 USD.
Yeah.
It's about 3,400 Australian dollars.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
And that included air tickets or just the everything?
Air ticket.
That's pretty good. That's cheap.
1 month of training and food.
And accommodation, of course, and medical treatments in case you get destroyed. That's pretty good. And so going back to that previous question, so within Shaolin itself, how was the food? Like, let's say your breakfast, your lunch, your snacks, your dinner?
Yeah, cool. So like within breakfast, like we only had, so it was oat milk, almond milk, sorry. And that's probably why I came fond of almond milk, to be honest. Ever since then, I've stopped using normal milk.
Yeah.
So it would be almond milk in a big massive bowl, and you get 3 like shortbread condiments. And these are low calories, but also gives enough energy throughout the morning. And that's and 2 eggs, cucumber, and lettuce. It was very simple. Very simple. We wasn't consuming too much because they didn't want us to gain fat.
No, it will backfire when you went back to training ground.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And it was just that was for morning. For the afternoon, we would get like chicken and rice. Chicken and rice and what else was there? Some veggie soups. It was very simple, very simple, and very low calorie, but also had enough nutritional values for the Shaolin people that are training there.
And dinner?
Dinner would be either similar or different. Sometimes it would be chicken. It's pretty much all chicken or fish, and tofu, some salads, and some vegetables.
So balanced diet.
Very balanced diet.
How about some sweet stuff? Did they give you any?
Sweet stuff they didn't give us, no. Yeah.
That's
that we had to buy our own, like.
Oh, okay. You could go on Sunday, wherever you had the day off.
Or even after when we finished training.
You can go down to,
so
that's pretty good. That was pretty flexible.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a good, and coffee, tea?
Yeah, so coffee and tea, we didn't have that much.
Except for the calligraphy class.
The calligraphy class. That's the only time we get to have our tea.
And you could choose coffee or?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's
Tea.
not discipline.
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
discipline, and this is
yeah.
to control your desires.
Yeah.
And they're manifesting
exactly,
through
that's
your
right.
hunger as well, and,
Yeah.
and your food and taste. So this is very good. It's going hand in hand with
This
the
is
training.
controlling, exactly. It's being disciplined. And in today's society, we're not, we're that way.
And conquering yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Being mindfulness.
That's exactly that. Yeah. That's yeah. So after all this trip and experiences and hard training, both mental, physical, and even spiritual, how did you grow
as a person? To be honest, I would say, you know, from being so reckless. When I say so reckless, I was how can I say?
Reckless, like you didn't really care.
Yeah, I didn't really. No, yeah, so flammable, you know, like
flamboyant
kind of lifestyle before. You know? Especially, you know, after breaking up with my ex. I just needed that. I just wanted to be disciplined and self-awareness and be mindful in the same time, have a presence of spiritually connected to something. And because, you know my background in Islam, but like before I wasn't really practicing. I was drinking, had girlfriend, this and that, you know, did drugs as well. And then I was just like, nah, this is not me. Like, you know. And then when I went to China, it really changed me as a person to be very mindful of myself. Growth.
Yeah.
It's self-realization.
Self-realization.
I think that's the word I'm going to use there. Yeah.
And how did close people in your vicinity react to new version of Alvon? Yeah,
to be honest, because I was just training. I don't know if you saw all my videos. All I was doing after coming back to Kung Fu from Shaolin, I was mainly just training.
You were still in the group. I remember we trained a little bit together, and you were showing me those forms and conditioning and
exactly. I've never did what is it called? I've never I had a lot of group before going. I think some of them. I think those group kind of just
dissolved.
Because I've heard one story, not one story, but it's a quote. The journey in your life, when you're trying to do something that is not for others, and you'll find yourself, if you look backwards, you'll find that there's a lot of shadows or things that's like left behind from previous life. And spiritually looking back, I can see those.
Okay.
If you think about it.
Well, the saying is also your vibe determines your tribe. Or your tribe is your vibe. So you will flock with people who are on similar frequencies.
Exactly. That's
and so if you've grown as an individual, what I can say as an observer, you matured a little bit more than you were before going to Shaolin. And so you became tougher and all these things that Shaolin taught you. And so naturally people who are not aligned with your vibration, the groups that you described earlier that you used to hang out with before you went to Shaolin, you were different Alvon, naturally didn't suit you anymore, and you just moved on with people who were on your frequency. So that only proves that you have grown, because you have shed, metaphorically speaking, you have shed the old skin, and you could see that old skin lying on the ground while you were moving forward. So it's a good way of putting it, and I realize that as well.
Oh, that's a good way of putting it.
Okay. So on that note,
is it that time already?
Well, we are nearing the end of the podcast, but if you have anything to add, please be my guest.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
We've covered very interesting aspects.
Tools and weapons.
What? Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, we did some tools. We did some training with,
Oh, yeah,
with
yeah.
some bow stuff.
Yeah.
That's
So
called
it's
the bow stuff right there.
it's fairly long.
Yeah, it's fairly long.
You can hit your neighbor very easily. Well, I'll leave it there, but yeah.
And of course, you got a machete.
Machete.
Yeah.
So you cut coconuts and leaves when you're going up to the mountain, but someone's
Yes, of course.
yeah.
This is a kobutan. What is it called? It's either kali or
Kali, it's a stick.
yeah, it's a
for-
stick. Yeah.
This is good to learn, and you can use sword, learn how to use a sword,
Yeah.
and then use this
Yeah,
as
exactly.
as a supplement
Yeah.
or substitute. And you can also use an umbrella.
Yeah.
And when you open it, it's a shield.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Look,
if
to be
once-
honest, like a weapon is whatever that you
exactly.
think that can work, and pretty much whatever there's around you, within your vicinity, you can turn it into a weapon.
Yeah.
You can turn a piece of rubber
And
that
use
is
knives
I
as
mean,
well.
knives. That's obvious.
Yeah, but
Right.
they teach
But
you.
say for example, like you have a piece of rubber that is quite solid. You flick that at someone, it's gonna hit the ice.
Yeah,
You damage the ice.
yeah. Or you put it between the knuckles
Or you
and
put
you
it
attack.
between,
or
exactly. Yeah.
You go like this and open here. Yeah.
Like, but you need to know the pressure points. That's the
Yeah, and
most important part as well.
but I'm pretty sure they have touched on that as well in Shaolin because you have pressure
yes.
point.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Anything else to add?
No, I think that's pretty much.
Okay, so that will conclude our podcast. Before we go, we would like to ask you, please, if you like it, if you like the podcast, if you got any value from it, if you could please like, subscribe, and share.
That's it, guys. You know what to do. All right, guys.
Okay.
Take care. See you
Take
later.
care. See you
Bye.
later. Bye bye.